Hello, welcome back to Elephant. Alright, let's move on. Last episode we entered the Greek letters, I think. So this episode, I guess we're gonna keep going. I sort of defined the direction in which we'll play these levels last episode. So we're gonna follow that this episode. Alright, down here, Ada. Which I confusingly misidentified as new. Okay. I see some issues here. If I made all these connections immediately, those alephs would get stuck up there. I couldn't be able to say anything. Nope. Alright. This redirects things. Diagonals seem to be useful here, yeah? However, even with great diagonals, I need both diagonals to be sort of in the same spot. Same direction. How do I get both of them to be in the same... I push one over. I guess it is somewhat interesting. I get both diagonals to sort of point up right. I get them to point up left as well, actually, by standing them here. I think the same issue occurs. Firstly, we can disprove the fact that they can we can disprove a solution in which they point in different directions. They also get stuck. If they point the same direction, you do get an entrance here. The issue is how to get them to point the same direction. Because once one is pointed the same direction, it either... Well, it will be forced to be attached to this guy. Right? So there's no way to get through it. I don't think. That is unless I can do a swap and push it in past here. If I can do a swap like so, then we're good, I think. So maybe I sort of want something like that. I want to get them both on the same side. Yes, I want to be able to push one through the LF to prevent any change of direction. There you go. Then this one can connect to the one over here. And now we will have space to do everything else that we need. There you go. Directional change. Attach up there. Enter the opening. We're done. Okay. Okay. Theta. Alright. We have unmovable vowel glyphs. Should I call them glyphs? I call them glyphs. I call them vowels in the past, but you know, they're also glyphs. They're all glyphs. They're all glyphs. So we only get to move the... I have a pretty big space here. I guess this one is a bit hard to move, right? Like, I can't really move it over if I wish. If I got a diagonal to occur... Say I did a connection like so. And then I got a diagonal to occur. Can I pull this out? I think I can, actually. Yes, I can pull it out. And I believe if I pull it out again... Well... Yeah, I can put another Aleph glyph here and pull it out. But that requires, I think... this. No, it doesn't. The glyph doesn't need to be that high up. Ooh, yeah, no, that's fine. This glyph doesn't have to be that high up either. I can push it up manually when I'm done. Right now, I just need this to be stuck here. Now that this Aleph glyph is here, I can pull it out like so. Alright, is this useful at all? I think it is. It is... Well, no. Although, it would be if this was still free. So you can see here, I could pull it out. Actually, I can pull it out and pull it down, I think. Not the solution I was intending. Let me show you the solution I was intending. So, I planned to try and get this to be pushed to the right, but clearly it cannot be because this is also stuck against the wall. However, if this was sort of up there first, then the push can occur, right? Yeah, there you go. That was the intended solution. What if I did the other thing? and instead pulled you to the left. Could I then just pull you down? No, because I can get above you. Oh. Okay, well, there's your answer. That solution wouldn't have worked. Okay, let's try this again. I like that the ellipses are already in the right spot to point you towards the left. That's very helpful. There you go. Although I could probably like fix the directions after the maneuver has occurred. So, but we'll be fine either way. Iota. Okay, bunch of glyphs. We need this to be facing up. Up left, yes. So probably need one of those Aleph glyphs here. If I did this... Okay, well that's already a connection. I can prevent that from occurring. I suppose it is interesting. This is good. No, hold on. I'm gonna make sure I get the right glyph out. We want a glyph to be here. But how do you get such a glyph out? Okay, if I did a connection that was down diagonal, that doesn't look possible with an initial thing like this. I mean, I could also do this, right? That looks also okay. If I got you out of the way. Oh, no, all the way the other way. There you go. There you go. That's slightly better for me. I can get stuff to be pushed around. Yeah, okay. I don't know if I like this a lot, but I could get used to this. Like that's okay, but again, needs an LF here to face you in the right direction first. Which is why this sort of needs to be facing... well, I mean this would work, but it would get stuff stuck. I want you to be facing like leftwards. But how to get you to face leftwards? That faces leftwards, but then you suddenly face up, and I don't know if that's good or not. Once this happens... you cannot face anything that isn't upwards. Which is a problem. Because if you can't face anything that isn't upwards, you can really only connect to this guy. If you're connected to anything else, if you're connected to the one at the bottom, for example, like this one, you can't pull it out. And so you get some very stuck glyphs. Makes me think that solution is impossible, but I don't see how the other solution would have worked either. A solution in which this occurred. It seems like it's ideal to get the middle glyph to its position. I can push it down because I can pull that up later. Like so. Seems okay, but see, this connection to this can never occur. Unless this wasn't stuck on top, which it is from the very beginning of the level. Right? So like, is something else supposed to happen here? Maybe an up diagonal with this allows it to be pulled down and pushed over. I can see it with an up diagonal towards the right. But that can only act as a pushing object. I don't mind that happening though. Okay, but how shall that even occur? You can... one of these has to connect to something at the start. It just depends on what. Like this is fine, but that does get it stuck. This doesn't help. Not that they're all stuck here. I just cannot get that vowel glyph to do that. Ooh. So okay, let's say up diagonal to this means that this connection cannot occur first. This connection has to occur first, but then has to point down. If it points down, I can't cause this vowel to point up, right? No, it doesn't look like it. Okay. Sure. That's definitely a failed... whatever. See, I do still think that this is a great start. I wonder if I ever have to play around with the idea of having them sort of point at the same glyph at the same time. Right now doesn't look very easy. Yeah, it doesn't look easy at all. Okay. Let's get them out and around first. I don't entirely know. Yeah, still unsure as to what goes where. What connects to what? Which glyph comes here? Definitely feels like the middle glyph, but I can't find a way to do that. Again, this looks like a very good move. However, to push it upwards, I need to displace the direction of that. Is that necessary? Maybe I don't. Maybe this is fine? This looks okay. Yeah, this is Wait. Wait. Before this happens, I think I need to push you over to make sure I can redirect your position without accidentally stepping on this glyph. This glyph points you in the wrong direction. So I need this plus an empty corridor. There you go. That looks good. Nice. Okay. Kappa. I need something to point downwards. But no, pointing downwards is bad. I need something to more point this way. But how do I get it out? This will fail. So perhaps I need first a connection to this guy, which I can then move around. Get you out of position. Well, this glyph here is also not useful because I can't get this to happen, and then yeah. I need this to be pulled down a bit, so but how will I do that? Well, I sort of need a connection facing in this direction. Yeah, I can see how I can use two glyphs for this purpose. There you go. Now I can pull you downwards. And if I can pull you downwards, I can get you to face down left. And I think we're done. If I kept pushing this way. No. Okay, another thing I can do is move glyphs around. So right now in this position, glyphs are being moved around. Not great. If a swap like this occurred, oh no, it'd still be very stuck. Well, okay, no, it's fine. I think what I can do is get this and then this, and then but this push fails. I can do that, but that doesn't really help. The push. Is this right? Maybe this is not right? I mean, this is not gonna work. Okay. The idea of this seems the most useful. It's the only thing I can actually start moving around freely as I wish. Right? I can do a lot of jailbreaking. I can get pushing to happen. Maybe like so. I can actually start getting the other diagonal to work. Huh. Okay, well, the problem is that now... Well, no, okay, the other diagonal can still work. Like so. Oof. I could technically push down, but if I try to make more space, this up diagonal fails. Yeah, this up diagonal is unretrievable. This doesn't work. This causes a rotation before a connection. No, this is too far away. This feels slightly better. I feel like I'm getting somewhere, but I can't be too sure about that. We only know those are the only two diagonals or the only two directions that work. A down direction does not work. So I gotta somehow either get this. Well, I guess interestingly, no. Interestingly, an up diagonal could work. Okay, maybe if I did this and then, well, can't push it up. I can't leave and then push it up because then the directions are wrong. And once pushed up, it's no longer useful. Unless for some, not for some reason, somehow. Yeah, this is facing the wrong way. Okay. Okay, I feel like I'm close to the solution. Just a final or initial step that I'm not remembering. Or not thinking of. Like, see, getting you stuck in the corner here is bad for this down right direction. And then this... I wasn't in the right direction, I meant to do this. Seems okay, but again, not very useful. Well, okay, you know, this is a thing that works. It gets things stuck, but it works. That gets us closer. Is that true? Okay. If I could just remove you. That is, if I got you free, I think I could push the glyph down to here and pull it out. So actually, I want to be able to re-obtain you once done. But I think everything now is sort of in a stuck position. Yeah, so... Okay, maybe the initial shape is not the best. If I could obtain... Well, a down diagonal doesn't work, right? Can I undo a restart? I can. I think I've answered that question before. This looks really good. To retrieve it, an up diagonal is required. Maybe up diagonal in a different direction. Or I just need an up diagonal in general, but the up diagonal will always get stuck, right? Yeah, this guy's not movable right now. So like, you just get stuck. I don't see how in any way you can get moved around besides from doing this. Oh, we've already dismissed that idea. Makes it so like the best thing we can do is actually this. And like this maneuver over here, this really strict maneuver, makes me think that that's actually intended. But clearly no. Maybe something else can be done at this point that doesn't involve pushing you down into this row. I can't move the glyph anyhow else though. This looks very interesting, but fails. Could you have faced any other direction from the start? Firstly, I can't move this glyph at all. Maybe pointing up is fine. How do I even get a glyph to point up anyway? No. I can't get a glyph to point up, I can't get it to point up right. So like, I couldn't do this and then have this glyph connected to that. No. So then what? I have this direct. Oh. It points up at the beginning. Oh, okay. Maybe that's useful. That doesn't seem very useful in pushing this one around. This guy kind of have to push around, so. And you kind of don't really help out that much. No, I don't see how you help out that much. Simply get things stuck, sort of. That's interesting. But not really. Okay. Maybe the idea of pointing up is useful. But up is so pointless. Up doesn't do anything for me, does it? No. It doesn't move around this thing? It can't. I would say it's very challenging for it to act as another glyph for which I can make this point down left. Because to do so, if it is on this shelf over here, this would have to be on the top row, which just gets stuck. If it were to be a bit lower, then it will get this stuck. Or it'll have to be here, which, equally doesn't work. Unless you get this out of the way, then things might be more interesting. So no, up doesn't seem to want to work with me. You can only point in a few other directions. You only point left or right. You can point down or the down diagonals. Those don't seem useful. You can point up. You can point up left. Oops, don't do that. You can point up left, but then that just gets you stuck. Okay, is there any other way I could do this? Maybe pointing down is fine. Maybe getting you to point down is fine. I just gotta get some stuff arranged first. So if I got downwards to work... Oof, downwards doesn't even... Downwards probably would work here instead. If I got downwards to work, could I save this at all? I would say no, this is not savable at all. This looks so good. What do I do here? You're just very stuck. And like, it's equally unsavable, right? There's a glyph here. Unless I could pull this towards the right, which I could if I could get this free. This doesn't work. Unless I could. Is there any way at all to get this out? Oh, I guess awkwardly enough I can get into a lot of places. This is the world's most insane set of glyphs I've ever seen. Okay. Oh, we're getting really stuck here. There's a triangle. Okay, maybe other things are supposed to be useful here. Could I, interestingly enough, get two things to point at the same... No, don't do that. Could I get two things to point at the same glyph? No, not on this level. Because in doing so, I would first have to push one vowel onto that, and then therefore it would get stuck. No. I need to push a glyph in between two vowels for that sort of double vowel thing to work. So no, I don't think that's possible here. This looks kind of cool. Kind of. I do still think that this is our best option. But I really don't see what other option. I don't see what other option we have. If I got you here beforehand and try to make you face down left, I would need a glyph here. Is that possible? Ooh, hold on. If I got a glyph into this position, is that doable? Hold on. Let's get you out of the way first. Perhaps. No, this gets everything stuck. So perhaps a glyph down here would be nice. But a glyph down here requires a couple of things. It requires it to be this specific word or this specific sound, which would require this vowel to be here. Right? In doing so, for this to survive, this would then have to be not there. Which does seem a bit challenging. Okay, let's play around a bit more with this idea. Can you do anything at this point? Or can you only act as a left or right pusher? A left or right pusher is interesting. Well, okay, I can now move this away. This gets it unstuck from that. Maybe that's useful. Aha! No, this is... Wait, this is an up diagonal. What am I doing? No, up diagonal. I want a down diagonal. Looks like... this. Oh, that's it. Okay. There you go. Alright, played around with that idea and that worked out for me. Good enough. Wow, these are hard. These are like... Are these challenge? Or... These like... supposed to be... I know the main line is the main line. That one's supposed to be easier than everything else. But these are like much bigger challenges. Jeez. Okay, gamma. Wait, no, lambda. Lambda. Alright, 4 glyphs. I can push them around. That glyph over there is very interesting. I cannot get it out. So something has to enter there. However, I do realize that a glyph in here, a glyph entering this chamber here, either has to point upwards or up left. Up left actually fails. If it points up left, I can't get in. So it has to point upwards. It has to go in pointing upwards. Okay. Good to know. If I did some really wonky stuff like this... Okay, I think I see something. You can never get out. Meaning that you have to be the one that's facing up, which you are. That's good. Maybe then the goal is to make it so that... Why doesn't this work? Right, this glyph is stuck. The goal is to push you in without activating any of these glyphs first. That's the goal. Okay. Goal is something. I know what my goal is. How to achieve said goal. You're stuck. You're very, very stuck. If I got you up here, it doesn't help. Pushing downwards seems to be the best course of action. Pushing downwards requires me to step on this, which definitely fails you. Unless I can somehow retrieve you. But it doesn't look like even with a rightward or a down-right connection, I can actually pull you out. Unless I was, you know... I don't know, I don't even think that's possible. I don't think it's ever possible to do that. I can do something like that. That's a temporary... Well, I would say sacrifice to make it so that things can be pulled out a bit more. If a connection like this were to occur, I could push this to the right and pull everything out. That doesn't seem very easy. Alright, if I place a glyph in this position here. So let's say... I sort of want this guy to be somewhere else. No, okay, this is possible. I can do this. I wanted the glyph to be stacked on top of that Aleph. This way I can push it over. Yeah, so it acts as sort of a buffer. Now I can push this down. I think that's... Is that it? Can get you out of the way. I think I do need to get out of the way without pushing you downwards, so I would get stuck otherwise. I think we're done with that one. And all I need to do is just connect this to the right spot, right? And I think everything's connected, so I don't really need to do anything else. Nice. Okay. That's 5 down. About 5 more to go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Plus the language level. We don't know about that one just yet. Okay, Mew. Mew. This one looks very stuck. This one needs to be pointing... Well, I don't know what that one has to be pointing. That one could be pointing anywhere. That isn't, you know, right now. It can point up, left or up, left. Is all it can do. This guy, not that much stuck, but also very stuck. Pushing it anywhere, we get it very stuck. You're also very stuck. This is the only thing I have free control over in terms of my movement. Okay. We could technically move you around. You move the glyph around. I can move the glyph around as I wish, I think. Gotta push you down, push you over, push you up. That glyph has been moved. Not ideally. Maybe pushing you over a bit more will be fine. But I can't push the glyph up anymore. Okay, so what is this puzzle? Why does this look so awkward? I can do a connection like this. That likes this diagonal to... that likes the diagonal work. Okay. This guy... Well, okay. I can sort of push you this way. That's a connection. A couple other things already work though. This one actually does get kind of stuck. It's not that stuck because if I have an Aleph glyph underneath you, which can occur, I can do this, but with you facing another direction. I can pull out this glyph and get it somewhere else. Okay. What if... this diagonal doesn't work though. Either what? For that plan to have worked, I would have needed a down right or rightward facing vowel. That's a very interesting idea. But how do I get it to work? I mean, if you connect it up there, is that retrievable at all? It might not be actually. In this position, it's clearly gonna get stuck. If we moved it over slightly, wouldn't it also be stuck? We stuck because of that. Doesn't seem very right. So that's not doable. I don't suppose retrieving you to do that would be the same or possible at all? No? No. So maybe I need an upward facing. Ooh, upward facing is a little tough. Not impossible. Ooh, no, very, very challenging. However, if I got a glyph to be here, and then this to be facing downwards, it seems easy enough on upward pointing. Wow, these are very, very hard to work around. You're already pointing downwards. Is that useful? I push like this kind of curve though. This is a vertical no matter what. Okay. Can I get this guy out in any way at all? I can pull against one of the glyphs it connects to. But I don't exactly see, you know, entirely how that would occur. Firstly, you need to be down diagonal, which gets it... well, it gets a lot of things already stuck. Secondly, a glyph needs to exist there. I suppose I can push it around. Yeah. That doesn't really work. But I can push that glyph up there. This gets something. But do you see how stuck everything is? Very, very stuck. You know, the only reason why getting something stuck would work is if that stuck position is already a good position for everything. But in this case, it's clearly not. None of these positions are, like, even, you know, orthogonally or diagonally coherent. Just like a lot of my sentences. We don't get much coherence here, so I don't think that's really all we want to do right now. I don't really see how else this could work out though. Maybe this is fine actually. I did check on this. Technically speaking, if I could push this glyph to the right, we might be good. Because I can get this glyph to be here by just pushing this guy to the right. But how to get a rightward pushing glyph? Aha! another glyph here. These guys connect. Push right. Okay. Seems like a good idea. Is that feasible? It might be. Hold on. It might be feasible. Watch this. Check it. No, I want to pull you right first. Right. Now I gotta pull you up. Pulling you up is fine. That's the right position. Yes, okay, in fact, because this is already here, I can move this here. That's good. You needed to be in the other diagonal. Wow, this is actually really clean. Look at this. I'm putting that there. That also exists in the right diagonal. And so does this. Oh, look at that. Wow. Push. I can push this over and have this point up. There you go. Wow. Okay, I really liked this one. This one was a good puzzle. Okay. I don't think I want my brain to kind of have to comprehend this anymore. Let's take a little peek at this new level. I think it doesn't look that bad, but I'm sure there'll be some kind of problem with this eventually. Yep, we'll work on this next episode. Right now, I'll take my 6 completed levels and be happy with it. Okay, yeah. Next episode, we'll move on to the rest of the Greek alphabet levels, and then we'll move on to the next world, hopefully. Either that or someone gets stuck somewhere and some issues will occur. But it's okay, let's hope that doesn't happen. Yeah, until then though, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!